Hello, I'm Dave, and this is the Omniverse Comics Guide, and I am no expert in manga, but luckily one of our subscribers is. Based in Japan, Raph Cascarino is joining us in the Omniverse for this episode to give us the heads up on manga that's about to hit the English-speaking market. Raph has the advantage of speaking Japanese, so he can give us his opinion before the books even hit the shelves in the West. Lucky boy. Raph, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks, dude. When it comes to manga, I put my hands up and I'll admit freely
Yep.
that I don't know a huge amount. So I've read some bits here and there. I haven't even read Akira. How have I not read Akira?
Yeah, you should.
Should read Akira. Gonna change that,
Have
I
you
think.
have you watched have you watched the movie?
Yes, but like a long time ago. I think it was like when I was
Yeah,
about 19. There is a fair share of anime and manga out there, but I tend not to watch a huge
yeah.
amount of it, but I'm massively intrigued. It seems like it's such a huge there's a huge array of stuff. Like there's a constant flow of manga jumping the waters and coming over to
Yeah,
like
it's
American and
it's
English
amazing.
markets. But it's
I
nothing,
mean,
is it, compared to what you've got over there?
I'm getting like some kind of listing from my bookstore every month, and I think that's like I don't know, like hundreds of new titles every month, and
Wow.
some really minor stuff, and and there's also like a really huge secondhand market. So you can get mangas from like 20, 30, 40 years ago. Like the
Really?
classics are always available. So yeah,
Because that's just it. A lot of the manga stuff, it sounds like it starts, and like you can correct me if I'm wrong, feel free. But so a lot of them start in magazines like is it
exactly. Yeah.
like Shonen
So
Jump, is it?
everything, for example, that's the most famous one. So
Oh,
everything is pre-published.
uh-huh.
So it can be like one chapter each week. It could be a chapter a month. Some manga comes like just twice a year or like whenever the author is ready.
Right.
And like you have like, yeah, I don't know how many magazines you have, because you have magazines for women, you have magazines for like young girls, for young boys, for teenage boys, for young adults, for like
Uh-huh.
old men, for like everything. You have magazines about only like, yeah, like gambling mangas or something like that.
Really?
Yeah,
That seems so specific.
it gets really specific. I mean, you can think about any subject, any genre, anything, you'll find a manga about it.
Wow.
Really anything. And
Wow.
plus, for the past, like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 years or so, now they are pre-publishing mangas on the internet, online. So
Ah,
you get your new chapter every week online. And once you have like a book, then you get a full volume in the bookstore. So
ah,
that's even more books coming out every month. That's so much.
yeah.
That's so much. And as I told you before, I'm not even in Tokyo. If you go to Tokyo or something, it's even bigger.
Really?
It's floors and yeah, I think yeah, there's one famous like bookstore in Tokyo where you like 3 or 4 floors just for manga. Like
And
you have one
everyone's
floor for women, one floor for men, one.
so it's
Yeah,
like clothing stores almost. That's the only thing I can think of that's an
yeah,
equivalent.
yeah,
That's so random. Because you say like most people read them as well, any ages. It's like an
yeah.
accepted art form as like a whereas it's more of a
It
struggle
is.
to get American comics and in
It
England,
is.
no one wants to know. It's like
No,
it's
no,
just
no.
for kids.
It's for everyone. So
Wow.
like my kids, like my 8 years old son, he gets his magazine, which
Mm.
has mangas that are for kids about his age, like with a Pokemon or like some toys or whatever.
Yeah.
Then yeah, you have some for like older men, like where they'll have mangas about golf, gambling, uh, food, or I don't know,
Golf.
whatever they're into. Yeah, golf.
How good is that going to be?
I don't know. I
It
haven't
might
checked
be
it out.
good. It might be good,
It
dude.
might be. It might be.
Well, you might well have chosen a golf one today. So, because you've got a few choices for us today, haven't
Yeah, I
you?
haven't.
Ah, maybe next
Maybe
time.
next time.
We'll have a trio of golf related manga
Mm-hmm.
for people who are desperate to read some golf comics. So do you want to start up? How many have you picked for us today? Is about three?
So I've picked 3 titles.
Excellent. Shall we have a
They're
look at our
all
first one?
coming out in November. Yeah,
So they're all
I
being
can kick it
translated
up.
for American audiences in November.
Exactly.
Nice.
So the first one, you were the one that
Oh,
recommended to me.
I
It's called
did.
Innocent. So it's coming out from a Dark Horse, and I think it's like a kind of omnibus, if we can call it like that. So it's going to be like 3 volumes into one. So I've read the first 3 volumes.
Wow.
That I find in Japan.
You've gone for it.
I've gone for it. To know.
How does that compare? Because this is a Gantz omnibus, so I mean
I think it's going to be the same size.
They're quite chunky, aren't they? Yes, it's probably going to be about the same size as that. Still little.
Yeah.
But
it's about like
thick.
600 pages or something, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's right.
And so the whole series is made of 9 volumes in Japan. So I think it's going to be like 3 big books in the US. It was published in Japan about in I think 2013 to 2015, so about 10 years ago. Basically, it's about Charles Henry Sanson. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No.
He was like the head executioner for the French
You'd be called the
regime.
head executioner. Is that like an ironic title?
I know, because he's the one who killed Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette.
Okay.
So you know the stories about him, but it starts like this. Basically, the first few pages, you see that they tell you he's the one who killed the king and Marie Antoinette, and then you go back to his childhood, and through the story, you see how he's being brought up. And that's about the only French thing in the thing. Then it gets really like a Japanese manga.
Okay, so it might not be factually accurate, is what you're saying.
I think it is. Actually, it's based on a history book written by a Japanese historian about this man.
Okay.
So the facts are accurate. I mean, the dates and like everything, but it's
embellished.
It's a free adaptation. Yes. It's quite embellished.
Cool.
Just like Gantz, you won't be reading that one in public transportation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah, there is nudity, there is torture, there is blood, of course, violence.
Quite graphic.
A lot of cadavers. Yes, it's quite graphic.
Okay.
But it's gorgeous. It's looking so good.
It's gorgeous graphicness.
I mean, let me. I don't know if you can see, but like these kind of pages.
Oh wow, dude!
Just the level of detail, it's amazing.
It's fantastic what people can do in black and white, and I think that there was, I think it was John Allison, the guy who did Giant Days. I think I've got his name right. He was saying it's funny like how the Japanese market have got it cornered. They've got it sussed because they don't spend any time putting stuff into that coloring, and they sell more books. You know, but then you look at something like that. I'm not even thinking about the coloring. It's kind of done it for you, but it's black and white, but the tone is perfect on that, and the detail is perfect.
Yeah,
because those covers are a lot to live up to.
Yeah, the covers are great too.
Yeah, look at it.
And every single page is like that.
Wow.
It's great. Wow. So the author, he's called Shinichi Sakamoto.
Okay.
And actually, he drew the whole series. It's drawn like digitally. It's digital art. So he's working from computer. Yeah.
Okay.
But he has a like really specific way of working.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you do that, but usually like manga artists in Japan, they have what we call assistants. They're doing like the main artwork, usually the characters, the whole setup.
Yeah.
But then they have like younger people or less experienced people working on the dam that will like add like the inks or draw some more details or
the backgrounds maybe.
The background or something. So yeah, it's really common, and like every famous manga artist started like that. Working for someone from the previous generation.
Wow.
Which explains sometimes why you have similarities in style from one artist to another.
Yeah.
Because they learn from each other.
Directly from, that makes sense.
Yeah. So apparently this Shinichi Sakamoto, he has 5 assistants, but they all have a very specific task. like there's one who draw like all the clothes. There's one who will draw like all the accessories. There's one who's doing only backgrounds there, and they all have their task to
Wow.
make it like
It's like a production line.
exactly. And also apparently he puts a lot of attention and efforts on like details. So he's making like clothes and dresses from back then, or he's having them order made. Then he has those assistants to wear the dress, to wear the clothes, and move around, and like to see like how the light would reflect, how the fabric would like move, and so on. So yeah, that explains why.
Yeah, definitely does. Is that mentioned in the book, or is that research you've done?
Research I've done, and I've seen a documentary where he was interviewed by another very famous manga artist, and who visited like his like studio and like checking like how he's working. So you could, in the documentary, you could see him like draw on his like computer, and then have some like young man wear a very beautiful French dress and move around.
Whoa.
But
that's such a smart way of doing it, though, because like it makes perfect sense for that accuracy.
It does. And so yeah, it looks beautiful. I mean, it's stunning. Every page is stunning, and I really like the story. You really want to know how this. So you start when he's very young. He's maybe like 12 or 13, and the thing is that he doesn't want to be an executioner. He doesn't want to kill people. He doesn't even want to kill animals.
Right.
But it's the family duty. He has to, because he's the eldest son. So his father is teaching him to be the next one.
Yeah.
And by teaching, I mean he's like forcing him. That's where tortures comes into play.
Oh wow. It's an interesting family business.
You follow this young man, which is really tortured inside and outside, and you know how it's gonna end up, but you don't know how he's going to get there. And through that, you also see like the evolution of like the French history at the time, which is gonna like end up with the French Revolution.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but obviously in the book, all Englishmen are
bastards.
People to be killed. Yes.
Oh well. So we used that from American films as well, dude. I won't worry about it.
Yeah, no.
We're always the bad guy.
I mean, the French, we're the smelly guys, so.
I'm saying nothing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, that's what I've heard.
I haven't heard that, and I'm sure it's completely untrue. We are in separate rooms, though, just in case.
So yeah, it's definitely worth checking out.
Okay, it sounds fantastic. I mean, is there a sequel to it, or is that?
So there's a sequel. There's a sequel which is called the Innocent Rouge, like the red color, and it's 12 volumes. And I'm not sure what it's about. From what I've seen, the covers, the main character seems to be a woman.
Okay.
So it might be one of her descendants. I'm not sure. But but probably I think if Dark Horse gets this series out, they're probably going to keep going with the next one.
Is Innocent Rouge a little older as well?
So Innocent finished in about 2015. So I think Innocent Rouge probably started right after. So 12 volumes would be about maybe 3 to 4 years. So yeah, maybe somewhere between 2015, 2019, 2020. And he's done another manga more recently that has been published in English last September, actually.
Oh, what's that one?
And so I have no idea how you pronounce it. It's DRCL, Midnight Children. And I think it's about Dracula. So DRCL. And this one has been published in the US by Viz Media. And it's only 3 volumes.
Okay. Wow. I've just had a quick look at that, and it looks just as pretty.
So it looks great because of course, it's more recent, so his technique has improved.
Yeah.
But if it's only 3 volumes in total, that means that probably wasn't a big hit in Japan.
Oh, okay. So it might be like
Because usually,
discontinued,
usually when a series is popular,
which goes on.
being published, yes. So short series are usually like some more artistic work, or something that just didn't sell.
I guess if it's potentially a adaptation of Dracula, that's kind of a finite story. So unless it could just be that it's just covering that, maybe it's worth having a look at though.
At least for the art, it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely, because it looks real pretty as well. So I'd be up for having a look at that. So Innocent is on my list to pick up.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for reading ahead. And it sounds like, it's good enough for you to just pile through. Just the cover alone won me over, but knowing that it's actually a really good read is really promising. And that one's coming in November from Dark Horse Manga. So what have you got next for us, dude?
All right, so the next one is called Gannibal, like a cannibal, but with a G.
Okay.
Just with a G, yes. It's not really the kind of manga that I like. Not really my thing, but it wasn't bad.
Okay.
So I thought I shouldn't we could talk about it.
That's so cool. Well, do you reckon it's something that's going to be, is it by a certain creator who's quite popular, or why did you choose to
apparently
check it out?
it's his first famous work. He's called Masaki Ninomiya, and that's his first popular work, so I couldn't find much information about it. But what caught my eye is that when was it? I think in last December, so yeah, last year, about a year ago, it was made into a TV show in Japan on Disney Plus. And I think it's available all over the world on Disney Plus and on Hulu in the US, from what I've heard. And a season two is coming, I think, maybe later this year or next year. So it might have been popular. So it's about, as the title suggests, it's about cannibalism.
On Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus, yes. It's not for kids.
Oh.
So it's set in a remote village in rural Japan. It's in the mountain. It's basically a village of bear hunters. And there's this young, not young, maybe he's in his, I think the main character is in his late 30s, maybe. He's a cop. He's married. He has a young kid, and he used to work in the big city, probably Tokyo. And we don't know why, but he's been relocated there because something happened back in Tokyo. So his wife is not happy about the whole setting. The villagers look kind of creepy, and the previous cop that was stationed there has been, we don't know if he has been killed, but he's been found dead, and we don't really know what happened.
Right.
And there's rumors that he was getting crazy. Everybody in the village say it's just an accident, but this cop daughter said, no, he's been killed. There's something fishy around here. And so you have this cop that tries to get accepted by the villagers. And you have all this cast of wild and creepy people. You get this kind of really heavy atmosphere. You don't really know what's gonna happen, and I won't tell you more because I would spoil it. But
was it enough to keep you intrigued? I mean, if you said it wasn't something you'd normally read, in what way was it not something you'd pick it up at, and was there something about it that made you carry on?
I don't really see the whole series. I think it's 13 volumes. I don't really see how they can keep the mystery going on for that long.
Yeah.
Because I just read the first volume, and there's already a lot that you learn. And then it gets to how is this cop, innocent cop, he might not be innocent, but for now he's supposed to be, yes, how he's gonna get out of, and what's gonna happen to him and his family.
But there may be layers, right? I mean, how far through are you as well?
Probably there's probably some layers, because I don't know, 13 volumes, and there's a lot of characters in the first volume already, and the reason I've decided to talk about it is there was one character that really caught my attention in the whole bunch of like weird villagers. There's one guy which is kind of the leader of the bunch, and he's probably about the same age as the cop, but you never know if he's being his friend or if he's trying to trap him. And it kind of feels at some point that he might be playing a like double game.
Yeah.
Because obviously he knows what's going on.
Right.
And he doesn't want the cop to know. But sometimes he does help him too. So you don't know. You never know.
That's the kind of thing that draws me in. I love a bit of a mystery, as you probably know.
Yeah. So I've read manga, like mystery manga, thriller manga before, and usually I get disappointed like halfway because it gets too long. Before you get to the end, you're like, you can see where this is going, or like they're adding layers on layers on layers, and then it doesn't make sense anymore.
Is that because they're trying to make it last? Do you think? Because I haven't got a finite story.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, as I've mentioned earlier, when a manga is popular, it keeps being published.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the writers are struggling with their publishers because they want to end their story, but the publishers, no, you have to go on, you have to add more, you have to find something. The most popular like manga, like the One Piece, the Naruto, the Dragon Ball, they have to adapt. If it's not popular enough, they have to make some changes, so maybe it will get more success and won't be cut off. So yeah,
some of those have been going for decades as well, haven't they? Some of the ones you mentioned, and it's the same continuity. It's not like they restarted.
So that's a perfect transition for number 3.
Oh, okay. It's just to wrap on number 2. Do you reckon it's worth? Yeah. Would you recommend Gannibal? Or who would you recommend it to?
Definitely. If you like horror movies, horror stories, thrillers, that's for you. It's quite graphic. So I think maybe it will get more to the horror kind of thing than just a thriller.
Okay. Perfect for Halloween.
There's definitely something going on in that's perfect for Halloween.
Although it's out in November.
If you're not sure about it, you can check the TV show on Disney Plus.
So what have you got then for number 3?
All right. Number 3 is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6.
Part 6, yes. Because you've talked about manga going on like forever.
Yeah.
And actually, JoJo started in 1986.
Did it?
Yes, it did.
Wow. I only found out about it 2 years ago.
This is part 6 because it's coming out in November in the US. But actually in Japan, where is my book? I don't know. We're up to part 9 that came out like in September or August.
No way.
And if you add everything all together, it's like 132 volumes.
What?
Yeah.
That's a commitment.
It is.
But is it, I mean, obviously we're about to talk about volume 6, but does it stay good throughout the first 5 at least?
Yes.
I have no idea. I literally don't even know what it's about.
All right, so let me tell you about it.
Cool.
So you can start from any part you want. You don't really have to start from part 1 because each part has its own cast of characters and its own storylines. You get references to like previous parts or like the history or something. But if you don't mind, you can just, if you want to start from part 6, you could basically, and you'll have a complete story. The first story of part 1, it's in England in the late 19th century. So you have this young man from a wealthy family who's called Jonathan Joester. And one day his father comes home with another young man called Dio that he's just adopted.
Okay.
This young man, dad passed away, and because he's wealthy and he decided to adopt his son, like to raise him.
Mm-hmm.
But that new son, so Dio, is trying to kill Jonathan and his father to take over like the whole heritage and like become a wealthy and successful man. But it doesn't go as planned. He finds this like mysterious stone mask. And when you put that stone mask on your face, you get transformed into a vampire.
Oh,
and you basically become immortal.
this isn't what I thought it was going to be about at all.
No, really? You didn't think so, right?
No.
So he gains powers and he decides to get revenge and like get what he thinks he's due. And our hero, Jonathan, stands up against him and fights him. So basically he's using his breath to have not superpowers, but to be able to kill vampires.
But his breath.
It's really Japanese. Yeah, he has to breathe a certain way, and then he gets some kind of energy inside his body.
Is it garlic
and
breath?
That allows him. No, it's not.
Damn.
It allows him to kill vampires. So that's the first setup. If you're into that kind of manga from that time period, you'll probably like it. If mangas are not really your thing, it might be a bit more difficult.
Does that mean the art's changed as well as the storytelling? The art style has changed. It has, right?
It changes. It changes a lot. And so that's part one. But then with each part, you follow that Jonathan Joestar's family.
Mm-hmm.
So part two is about his grandson, and part three he's about the grandson's grandson. So yeah, his grandson was American, and then he married someone from England, and their daughter married someone from Japan, and so it moves like you go through generations.
Yeah.
And you go through different part of the world too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And part three is very important because it introduces what they call the stance. So the character gets a new set of powers. They have some kind of like not monster, but like strange looking character, like a ghost that appears behind them and grant them some powers. So that may sound stupid, but what the writer is really good about is that with a really simple power, he can go really, really far. Like, for example, it's in part 5, but there is this character. His power is to make zippers appear.
What, like in space, in like the air, and you can go through them?
So, but with that, he can do so many things. Like, even if his arm gets cut, he can put it back in. he can take it off himself to catch something further.
What?
He can open pathways through walls. He can like move on the floor or on the wall very quickly, like with a zipper, like going like or so there's no limits. And in that way, it's really Japanese, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
that's what I love about this stuff, though, because like I literally the little I've read, some of it you're reading it and you're going, what? How did you think of this? But I love that. I love how and you just go with it, even though you're going.
that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest difference with US comics, right? American comics, it's set in reality. So I think very early on, manga was a way for some Japanese people with something to say, maybe some anger towards society, something to express what they couldn't in real life.
And escape for the for the audience.
And escape.
It's a completely different escape.
So yeah, so they have no limit. So yeah, that's the basic setup for JoJo. But so part 6, it's coming out in November in the US by Viz Media, and I think there are thicker volumes than in Japan. Maybe
I've seen some like hardcover ones, so I don't know if they like give them like a prestige format,
deluxe edition or something.
Yeah,
deluxe.
Probably. Yeah,
it might be. Part 6 is happening in the US. Actually, the whole story is set up in a jail, in prison.
Oh.
You start the story with the main character, this time a young woman called Jolene, who is being imprisoned for some crime she may have committed or not. We're not sure yet. and then everything happens inside there.
So is she a JoJo? Her
So
surname is, she's got the same surname, so she's still a JoJo. Is that how they do it?
so
Every
yeah,
each
so
character
her
in each
family name,
generation is
yes.
JoJo.
For example, so the first character was Jonathan Joestar, so JoJo, and her family name is Kujo, and her first name is Jolene. And in Japan, you put the family name first, so you get
Right.
Kujo Jolene, so you have JoJo.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Another example, yeah, in part 5, the main character was Italian, and his name was Giovanna Giorgio. So they took the JoJo and made it JoJo.
So, I mean, in terms of how this series compares to the others, do you think it's one of the better ones? Is it one that you would definitely recommend?
Everyone has its own favorite. I think why is it coming out now? It's because there was an anime on Netflix last year, I think.
Oh, I had a feeling I was going to ask you about this because I thought,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought I saw one because I think I put it on my list, and I barely watch TV, so I put it on the list, but I don't know what it's based on. If it's based on like the first series or
So I think they started the anime from like part 1 about maybe 10 years ago, and they did
right.
1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. They took a break. They did part 5, took another break, and I think Netflix did part 6. But I don't know. I don't know in England. I know in Japan you can see everything on Netflix from the first one.
Yeah, we
I'm
get
not
all
sure
sorts
about
of weird rules here, so I don't know. I'd have to look
so
into it, but I'm
so
intrigued.
it's as good a starting point as any. Of course, if you're willing to, I'd recommend to start from like part 1, number 1,
Yeah,
so you get the whole story. And if you don't want something that long, I'd wait. I don't know if it will come out, but probably at some point. I'd wait for part 7, which is a bit different, and
better.
which can be. It's my favorite. It's my favorite,
Okay,
and you can get into part 7 even if you haven't read any of the other parts before.
got you. Right.
You'll enjoy it more. You'll enjoy it more if you know what happened before. But if you haven't, it's all right. Basically, part 7 is set in, I don't know if I should say that on screen, but part 7
Okay.
is set in a different dimension. For me, it's so the author, he's really into movies, he's really into fashion, he's really into art. Basically, he's a creator and he likes other creators' work, whatever the domain. And I think he gets inspiration from a lot of things. So characters have really like strange clothes because in his mind he's like designing clothes for the characters. And but because of that, he's been showcased in the Louvre in France.
Really?
He's worked with Gucci in Italy and all over the world. Like, yeah,
No
so actually,
way.
yes, yes way. So that character Jolene, the character from part 6, she's been used for some like campaign for Gucci.
What? Okay,
Yeah,
that's all news to me. I had no idea.
and his art, his original art from the manga, has been showcased in the Louvre. I mean, it's an art museum. Yeah, when it happened in France, I think it was very controversial because the anime wasn't out yet, so it wasn't that big a thing. And I think at the time, mangas were still being looked down a little in France. I
Oh,
mean, maybe more than now. So I don't know who made that decision. I don't know how it happened. I definitely recommend it. It's a 5-star for me.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's.
Now
I'm assuming that's out
I
of
really
5.
love it. I really love it. I'm really looking forward for each new volume coming out. And
Well, you're selling it to me because that was one of those ones where I think with the art style and it seeming really big, like it's quite a big commitment. How long before it kind of kicks in? All those kind of questions. But
but I
it
think
looks
you
like a
might
bit of a
like part
winner.
1 actually. So
I'll give
that might
that a
be fun
try.
for you.
It will. I think it will. I think it sounds like it's just nuts enough for me to want to go. Like, I want to find out what the hell is going on, especially with Zip Guy. I want to see that Zip
Yeah.
dude.
Zip guy, you'll have to wait for part 5, but
Ah,
you'll have a lot of. There's always like really weird characters. I mean, that's his thing. We said before, there's no limit in Japanese manga, and He
No.
really has no limits.
Oh man, that sounds brilliant. Well, look, dude, thank you so much. We got 3 strong recommendations there. We have Innocent, we have Gannibal, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Volume 6. Volume 6. That's a lot to draw on, and they're all coming out in the American markets. Well, the English-speaking markets, I should say. Yeah, they're all coming out in November, so that is brilliant. There's a lot to choose from. There's probably tons more, but they're the 3 that
I think
to really
there's so
focus
much
on.
thing coming out in November. Yes, there's a lot of other stuff we could have like showcased or talked about.
Cool. Well, hey, do you know what we'll do then? If you want to come back on and talk about some more at any point, let us know and we'll do it all again. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant. Raph, thank you so much. All the way from Japan, because halfway is no good. All the way from Japan. We're ahead of the game. So, yeah, look out for those books, everybody. Come back and have a listen to our next time we catch up with Raph and talk about upcoming manga.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.
Had a blast. All right. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, dude. We'll see you soon. All right. Cheers.